Criticized for taking so long to make a movie focused on a female superhero, the studio has made strides that parallel the evolution of the comic books. When Captain Marvel opens next Friday, it will be a moment of great satisfaction mixed with lingering frustration. The film, which stars Brie Larson as that spacefaring comic book superhero, is the 21st entry in the interconnected Marvel movie franchise since it began in 2008, but only the first to focus principally on a woman. By now, audiences have grown accustomed to superhero movies that put women in the spotlight. In 2017, Wonder Woman, based on DC Comics' Amazonian Warrior, was a worldwide hit for Warner Bros. Marvel has built its own fortunes on a decades-old supply of costumed adventurers that doesn't lack for women. And the studio has been criticized for its slowness to create movies emphasizing its female characters. So what took Marvel as long as it did to reach this point? And will Captain Marvel be the movie that makes good on this long unfulfilled potential? The answer to the first question, at least, lies in a tangle of social, cultural and economic factors. They parallel similar issues that Marvel has faced in making strides toward female representation in its comic books over the past 60 years, efforts that gradually helped bring Captain Marvel to prominence in the publisher's pantheon and make the movie more likely. The people behind Captain Marvel, the movie as well as the comic books that inspired it, acknowledge the problematic history that led to these more welcome developments. They also see opportunities for women to have an equal place on the page and on the screen, and for the Captain Marvel character to grow as an icon of female representation and empowerment. What Captain Marvel needed to be when she debuted in the 1960s is very different than what she needs to be in 2019, when she's anchoring a major film, said Kelly Thompson, the current author of the Captain Marvel comic book series. The film has her poised to be more important to more people than ever, and comics gets to be the proving ground for the character. Marvel, the Disney-owned home of the Avengers superteam, has become an important bellwether of diversity in Hollywood. The studio has broken ground with films like Black Panther, its 2018 blockbuster with a black director, screenwriters and leading actors. In recent years Marvel has also gained a reputation for giving opportunities to filmmakers who don't have a background in tentpole action movies. That category includes the Captain Marvel directors Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who are better known for low-budget offerings like Mississippi Grind and It's Kind of a Funny Story. Recalling an early meeting with Marvel, Boden said they told the studio, "All we have is the character stuff. And they said, we know how to explode things, we need directors who can tell a story." Captain Marvel, written by Boden, Fleck and Geneva Robertson Dworet, is also the first Marvel movie to have a female director and only the second, after 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy, to credit women as screenwriters. Larson, an Academy Award winner for the 2015 drama Room, said she was initially wary when she was approached for Captain Marvel and unsure if she wanted to take on such a high-profile role. But the actress, who has called for greater participation by women and people of color in the film industry and in the media covering it, said the global rollout of Captain Marvel could help bring her advocacy to a wider audience. She said she felt invested in the moral lessons of her smaller films like Short Term 12, but when it came to Captain Marvel, Larson said she asked herself, could I still do the same thing of caring about the content and making sure it has a message while also playing all over the world? Being able to shape the conversation is what female leadership looks like. In Captain Marvel's favor, Larson said that while other Marvel heroes are weak and lowly at the start of their origin stories, she was a badass before she got her powers. A former Air Force test pilot named Carol Danvers, she gains superhuman abilities from an alien race, and Boden described the movie as a mystery of sorts in which Danvers must investigate her own past. As she gets to know herself and embrace what makes her, she really achieves her true power, Boden said. Part of that means rejecting the voices of people who tell her she's not strong enough and doesn't belong. I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate to that, particularly women. The character of Carol Danvers has been on a journey of her own since Marvel introduced her in the comics in 1968. At the time, she was not much more than a Lois Lane-type love interest for a male hero, an extraterrestrial soldier who was the publisher's original Captain Marvel. Marvel, where its audacious editor Stan Lee led a roster of talented writers and illustrators, was celebrated in that era for its inclusivity. But its earliest efforts at female representation can now seem like tokenism. You can't help but think that if Stan Lee wasn't a conscious sexist, he certainly was so traditional, said Heidi MacDonald, editor of The Beat, a comics culture website. He gave his female characters the weakest powers. Oh, I can get very small, I can turn invisible, I can move a teacup with my mind.